Peace and power to the family. I hope you're having a great day, great night. All right. Getting a couple things figured out, whatever it is. Mixing and matching, milking and boxing. Drop Nation, what it do? Copyright disclaimer. All up in your caboose. We're in the library. We're feeling good. We're feeling good. We're back at it, y'all. We back at it. We're back at it. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, let's pick up where we left off. Prester John 26. Just can't get enough. We just can't get enough. Alright, so we're back in becoming Christian. The conversion of Roman Cappadocia. Months ago when I first started digging on this, man, you know, something told me, man, not to put it away. It's kind of like that Hyperborean war map, if you know what I mean. And now it's just, I enjoy coming back with fresh eyes, fresher eyes. So I know we got cut off, might be easy, but let's keep going. Chapter 5, the founder of the Cappadocians. We're just talking about the foundational legend of things, and as they keep calling Prester John a myth, Queen Sheba a myth, allegory. You're not real, Negro. You have no noble image, Negro. You are a homeborn slave. Is Israel a homeborn slave? Were you born to pay taxes? Were you born to be a slave? To have people mix up your history and push them back in the timelines and tell you you're from somewhere else and take your inheritance. Tell you you're black. You're dead. So we'll just get on this Moses so we can connect that to the Khazaria, to the Byzantine, to the Knights Templar, to Prester John, the priest king. In the early 5th century, a Cappadocian scholar wrote an extensive ecclesiastical history that surveyed the developments of the previous century. In his homeland, Philostrosius had grown up in the shadows of the great Cappadocian fathers. Despite their prominence, Philostrosius did not embrace their versions of orthodox theology. Instead, he and his families accepted the doctrines of Eunomius, another Cappadocian theologian, who Basil and Gregory of Nyssa would personally discredit and vilify, nor did Philostrosius remain in Cappadocia since eventually he moved to Constantinople. In his ecclesiastical history, Philostrosius was hence both economical and local. He included many tidbits of odd information about biblical events and the Roman Empire. Now we're gonna get to thinking on this Roman Empire in a different way. You know how we surf the waves, so let's keep being different. All right, let's keep being scientific. And he was interested in legends about Cappadocia when he mentioned Mosak, the original name for the city that eventually became Khazaria, Caesar, Black Caesar, Black Khazar. So as we got this before, we get it like it's the first time. If you're brand new, if you just belly flopped into part 26 of Prester John, hey man, kings to you, man. You are fearless. But definitely go get that drop. You know what I'm saying? Drop Nation is just providing so many, great breadcrumbs on this trail. And this is, again, one of those series that we're going to keep going as long as we can do it, man. You know what I mean? When he mentioned Mosak, the original name for the city that eventually became Khazaria, he noted that this name was derived from Mosoch, the founder of the Cappadocians. So what's the foundational legend of Mosak, in which Mosak is named after, now became Khazaria? Now we just call it, Turkey, whatever, Turkey. Then you got the, original Holy Empire, Roman Empire. But what's this Roman? What's this Romana? What's this Roma? And what does Roma have to do with India? He noted that this name was derived from Mosoch, the founder of the Cappadocians. Mosoch's name suggests some sort of Semitic derivation. There's a Semitic derivation in the name Mosak. It is of Shem. So right there, man, I mean, you got a city named after a foundational legend who is a Shemite. Not a Moabite, Shemite. Let's go. And his reputation as the founder of the Cappadocians, all right, seems to hint at a foundation legend for the region that was older than the adoption of Greek myths. Before Greek myths were even adopted, the foundation, the truth, not the foundational legend, reality set in. Before they took reality away, there was reality, and its name was Mosak. Mosak. All right. Now, we connected this before. It's always good to see it, with fresh eyes. This is a great link. I left it before, and I will leave it again. Definitely click all the links below so you can follow along, man. So, you've seen this. Maybe you have, maybe you have not. You see Cappadocia. We're just talking Mosak. So, right here, they have Japheth because Josephus very, craftily hid this Meshach in the lineage of Japheth and kind of just came out of nowhere with it, right? I mean, you remember how we got it. Josephus' Antiquity of the Jews. And we're just getting right into that chapter 6 like we got last time. Some of this might have got cut off, so I'll make sure I get it. But we got this before, man, and, we're just talking about the genealogy, man, of Noah and all that. So, again, we skip right here. For Gomer founded those whom the Greeks now call Galatians, Gauls, but were then called Gomerites. Magog founded those that were from him, were named Magogites, who are now by the Greeks called Scythians. So the Scythians are Magog. Now, as to Javan and Madai, the sons of Japheth, right? From Madai came the Medians, who are the Medes, by the Greeks, but from Javan, Jonia, and all the Grecians are derived from Javan. Now, all these are melanated people. Don't get it twisted, not for 1 second. Now, Thobal founded the Thobalites, which are now called the Iberians. And all right, here's the rump. Now look how this just comes out of left field from Josephus. And the Mosakini were founded by Mosak. Now they are called the Cappadocians. So again, Mosak, the founder of the Cappadocians. Now listen up, because Josephus knows he's being, what I'm saying, a little silly here. So he says there is also a mark, a sign, a symbol. What is a mark? Is it like X marks the spot? Could it be denoted or, connected to this cross at all? This north, south, east, west mark? What's the sign? What's the symbol? What's the mark? That of their ancient denomination. So he says of these Mosak, now called Cappadocians, there's also a mark of their ancient denomination still to be showed. We're talking futuristic, people. It's in the future. It's still to be showed. In the future, it will be revealed. It's still to be revealed, this mark on the ancient denomination of Mosak. Moses. Moses. There is also a mark of ancient denominations still to be showed, for there is even now among them a city called Mosak, right, now called Caesarea, which may inform those that are able to understand. Do you see the riddle Josephus is playing with this particular? He don't talk about the Greeks this way. He don't talk about Galatians and none of them. He's going in on Mosak. So we should go in on Mosak and see what he is leading us to. He says, still to be showed this mark, for there is even now a city among them called Mosak, which may inform those that are able to understand. Are you able to overstand, Drop Nation? Says Josephus, that so was the entire nation once called. So the city was called Mosak, and for those that are able to get the drop, the entire nation was once called Mosak. That so was the entire nation once called. I mean, so that should make you dig into this Mosak a little more, off the bat. And we pulled this link up, this Tower of Babel, the Cultural History of Our Ancestors by Bodhi Hodge. You get this joint right here, page, it's going in. I want to go more into this. Of course, you got to dodge the hijack. You already know. But just this graph right here just kind of, has so much water to keep coming back to. Now, they say Japheth, but Josephus just said there's a mark on their ancient denomination. The whole entire nation was once called Mosak. Now you have possibly the Moshe, M-O-C-H-E. Possibly the Moshe and cultures in South America. And we said, bang. Because we're connecting Prester John in South America. And they're saying right here that the cultures in South America are Moses. And we're connecting him to the tribes of Moses. And we're going to get that. Back in the Ronald Sanders Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, back where we started. So we can come back with fresh eyes, go over some of those chapters. We don't have to go at 1,000,000 miles per hour. This is our series. We own this. This is Drop Nation. We take our time. We listen to flutes. Yeah, man, we dig flutes. Possibly the Moshe and cultures in South America and the now dead Mexica languages in Peru, Jerusalem. These Mexica Moses language in Jerusalem. Now it's as much of northern Russia, Russia, Moscow and the region, Muscovy, Fiends. Moscow is Moses, is Moshe, is Mosaka, Mosaka, Moscow, Moshe, Mexica languages that they're now saying are extinct in Peru, that only went extinct about 100 years ago when you look it up. And if this Moses language only went extinct 100 years ago, so-called Negro, in Peru, what's the implications? Now it says here, much of modern Russia, parts of modern Georgia, Raja Hiraja, Chola II, Jadaron, Prester John, father of exilarch. We're going to get back into these Babylonian exilarchs. These are the Israelite kings during Babylonian captivity. It says exilarch David. Prester John, King David, exilarch David. So this David has a son, and he's also David, called David Soslin, just titles of Babylon and Georgia. Oh yeah. But he's talking Georgia. Immediate family. He's the son of Prester John. The Pandian, Chola, India, Pandia, Pandian, India, Indies, exilarch, Israelite kings, son of Prester John, exilarch Babylon, and Georgia. So it was a simultaneous ruling of this Georgia, this Rus, modern Georgia. So Rus, is Ross, is Clan Ciel Andrea Rus. All throughout so-called Europe, Asia, jamming, you know what I'm saying? All of these hijack forces jamming up, you know what I'm saying? These, Pope and them peoples, man. I mean, these picks was given, this empire over there, all they could fucking handle. The Jacobite risings, all this stuff they was getting their asses kicked. That's why they had to form an alliance against you. You were scattered, but you were whooping their ass even when you were scattered. That's why they made a confederacy, Psalms 83, against my people. Now it's time to let my people go. So you got modern Georgia, the Caucasus region's Huns, ancient Mazaka, Mosak, Mashi, Mosca, Muscovy, and Cappadocia. Moscow reflects the old name, possibly migration as far as South American. I mean, are we the only ones connecting Moscow to South America? Are we the only ones connecting Moses to Mosaka, to Moscow, to Rus, Russia, to South America, and the Mexican languages in Peru? Who's surfing the wave with us? What are we discovering? What's the connection? What's the orientation? Remember, we have to have an orientation. So again, if we're just talking about South America, North America, and this is the projection, the azimuthal equidistant AE projection, so-called flat earth projection AE map. You can dig on it, but you see in another perspective other than putting you on some type of square, map projection. Here's a more accurate, much more accurate comprehension of your land and your land masses and the perspective in between them. Research this map, man. Now you see how these land masses practically connect between Asia and America, right up here, people. So they got you thinking you got to go from America to Asia like this, the only way, but look how close this landmass is. And how is it that Prester John could be emperor of the three Indias? 1, 2, 3. The three Indias, the world, the emperor of the world. You think King David ain't king of the world when he's king? Okay. All right. We're just talking Mazaka. We're just talking Moses. Now, with that reference, let's go. All right. So, when he mentioned Mazaka, the original name for the city that eventually became Khazaria, he noted that the name was derived from Mosoch, the founder of the Cappadocians. Mosoch's name suggests some sort of Semitic derivation. South America, Peru, Mexico, Mexico. Yeah, Mexico is Moses. If Moscow is named after Moses, Mexico is too. The founder of the Cappadocians, they say, right? Mosoch's name suggests some sort of Semitic derivation, and his reputation as the founder of the Cappadocians seems to hint at a foundational legend for the region that was older than the adoption of Greek myths. So that's why it's just a foundational legend. It's so old. In the early Roman Empire, people outside Cappadocia had heard of Mosoch too. The Jewish historian Josephus, we just got Josephus, even tried to fit him into biblical genealogies by equating him with Menasseh, one of the grandsons of Noah. Notice how this author put it. He didn't say he is a Japhethite, even though he was put along that Japheth to even right here, they got him rocking in Japheth. But this tribe of Moses is being hidden in Japheth, hijacked into Japheth. So you don't know the true history of the Negro. The last noble image that was fighting for you when they signed that 1452 done Diversas Papal Bull. Man. Wiped us out. A coordinated strike, a coordinated plan. Who was ruling? Who were the Negus? Who's Mosak? Who's the foundational legend? Although Mosak is an intriguing primal ancestor, And let's back up. The Jewish historian Josephus even tried to fit him into biblical genealogies by equating him with Menasseh. So he tried to fit him into biblical genealogies. Not that he successfully did it, but he tried to squeeze him in somewhere. And even Josephus said, for those that have the understanding or the wisdom, you'll understand that the whole nation was once called Moses. So you don't think Mexico is Moses? Moscow is Moses? The whole nation was once Moses. Moses, the law is named after Moses. The law of the creator of the earth. You don't think they called all this Moses too? If the law is named after Moses? I think you need to get in touch with your foundational legends, because look what they're calling him, a primal ancestor. Although Moses is a intriguing primal ancestor. He unfortunately remains completely obscure. This foundational legend has been hidden. Your books have been burned. You don't know who you are. You, Negro, are completely obscure, just like your primal ancestor, Mosak. Philostrosius, in fact, knew so little about the legend of Moses that he could not match up the consonants and the vowels in order to make sense of the postulated link between the city's name of Mosak and Mosak's name. So he shrugged and invented a makeshift phonetic transfer. After the passage of time, the city was called Mosak through a swerving. So it was Mosak, but this Philostrosius couldn't get the vowels right, so it became Mosak through a swerving. Then it was Carriots. They just switched it all up. But Mosak is the intriguing primal ancestor. Mosak is Moshe. Cultures of South America. Moshika, Mosak, Mosaka, Mosak, Moshi, Moscow, South America, Moshika, Mexico. Come on with me. Oh, we flying high today. We vibrating up above the static. We above the barrier. We all above the barrier. That's the truth. That's reality. So this through a swerving became Mosak. In the later Roman Empire, all that survived, listen. All that survived of Moses. All that survived of whatever legends there may have been about Mosak, Moshi, were his name, his reputation. Listen, his reputation survived. Listen up. In the later Roman Empire, all that survived, the only things that survived are whatever legends there may have been about Moses or Mosak, Moshi, were his name, his reputation, and his enigmatic connection with the name of the city. Back it up. All that survived were his name and reputation. Well, if this is some guy named Mosak that you never heard of or isn't Moses, then how in the world did his name and reputation survive? In the later Roman Empire, all that survived, or whatever legends there may have been about Mosak, were his name, his reputation, and his enigmatic connection to the name of the city. I mean, people trying to figure out the connection between Moses and Turkey. Turkey. And what's that connection with this so-called Black Holy Roman Empire? When you look at the Byzantine Empire, what's the, 1453 is when they say it ended, 1453. Now the Papal Bull is 1452, and this Byzantine Empire is crushed in 1453. And now there's a new Holy Roman Empire in Italy when it used to be here. So it seems like a Roman or a Romani or a Roma people were hijacked. Mosak through the swerving. So this Mosak survived his name reputation. So what we know, Prince of Egypt, we know Moses, his reputation survived, it says. So this has to be the Moses that we know, or else they wouldn't say his name and reputation still survives. But his connection to the city, is still enigmatic. They're still trying to connect it. The myth of Mosak the founder was a lost memory, a fragment of an abandoned past, a casualty of the adoption of Greek mythology. Now you got Zeus and all this other stuff, but these people took everything from the foundational legend, the foundational truth, reality. They stole from reality to create their illusion. The myth of Mosak the founder was a lost memory. It's a myth. You don't know what we're talking about. Mosak, what? A fragment of an abandoned past. Everything that sounds like the so-called Negro is you. You've been fragmented, blasted apart. You're looking for yourself and everybody else's shit. You got to go through the Vedas and the history of the Indias and all this stuff to find you, because you've been fragmented. A fragment of an abandoned past. A casualty of the adoption of Greek mythology. Moses is gone because of the Greeks. And check this out. The imposition of Roman rule. These new Romans. Or the expansion of Christianity. Bang. So Christianity killed Moses. Christianity kills the laws of Moses today. Don't you get it? Christianity's the law's done away with. We got Zeus. We got Zeus. The law's done away. Moses' law is nothing. He's not a Mashiach. Christ is the Mashiach. Christ is Christ. Moses is a Mashiach. He's your Mashiach. He is your Mashiach. He's who the Creator used to break down the law and bring you into the promised land. Joshua continued that. He is a Mashiach, bringing you into the promised land. Now you got Mashiachs you just got to believe in. They said they came thousands of years ago. They said they're going to come back thousands of years later. They left me in Roman Greek captivity. Your Jesus left you in captivity. Your Christ left you in Roman Greek captivity. He didn't take you out of Roman Greek captivity. He said, I'll be back in 2,000 years. We had real saviors, people. Real people that the creators are only savior. So our Mashiachs are only repping our only savior. Let's get that clear. Nothing stands beside our creator. And our Mashiachs have always come. The energy, the law has been coming through. And now, thanks to the Greek mythology, the imposition of Roman rule, or the expansion of Christianity, you are a fragment of an abandoned past. The myth of Mosak the founder is a lost memory. Mosak the founder has become meaningless because of Roman in a society that defined itself in terms of Greekness, Romanness, or Christianity. Mosak, Moses, the founder, the law has become meaningless. The law, your law has become meaningless. Oh, baby. Let's get this, man. Let's go to another book. That's Becoming Christian, the Conversion of Roman Cappadocia. I want to get this Moses. Moses, is the end game. The law is the end game. Remembering Moses is the end game. Remembering your foundation is the end game. So we're only talking Mosak, the founder. And this is out of the book, The Making of Christian Communities in Late Antiquity and the Middle Ages by Mark F. Williams. Let's get it like it's the first time. In the early 5th century, Philostrosius wrote another ecclesiastical history. Philostrosius was a native of Cappadocia and grew up in the shadows of the great Cappadocian fathers despite their prominence. Philostrosius did not embrace the Orthodox theology. All right, so we got some of this before. Now, let me get it from right here. A miniature version of this entire process was the change in names of Caesarea Basil's Episcopal See. Right. Basil's Episcopacy. Right. The original name of the city had been Mosak, somehow derived from the name of Mosoch, the founder. During the Hellenistic period, or the Greek hijack period, right, the kings of Cappadocia had renamed the city with a respectable Greek name, Eusebia, after Eusebius. Right? Piety. That's their way of being respectable. They take away Moses and name it piety. Eusebia. All right, so this renaming presumably reflected their goal of introducing Greek culture and the amenities of a proper Greek city. Wow. So clearly we're hearing from the mind of a hijack. He's glad the law was gone. He's happy to be lawless. At the end of the 1st century BC, Archelaus, the last Cappadocian king, had renamed the city again as Caesarea. So it went from Mosak to Mazaka to Eusebius to Caesarea. Now you go to the restaurant, you say, I want a Caesar salad, and you're only getting a Caesar salad. A Caesar salad. In order to honor the emperor Caesar or Caesar Augustus, Archelaus himself was held as a founder. So he was the new founder, not Moses, right? Caesarea became a proper city in the Roman Empire in the 4th. So now it's a proper city, right? In the 4th century, Bishop Basil founded a new city in the suburbs of Caesarea that included a church, a clerical residence, a poorhouse, and a hospital. Rather than simply renaming Caesarea, Basil had founded a replacement settlement, a Vatican, outside the city's walls. All right, here comes their Vatican. The name of this new foundation, not so surprisingly, Basilius. Basil's place. Almost sounds like Brazilius. All right. Mazaka, Eusebia, Caesarea, Basilius. Each new name was an entire history in one word. And as a community changed its name, its cults, it changed its local history and local legends. So they're wiping out the foundation. They're wiping out the Negro in Europe, right? The Renaissance, the rebirth of who? And why did they take down the Byzantine Empire in 1453? 1 year after the Papal Bull, all right, dumb Diversas. Which each new city, the name had also to acknowledge a new founder or eponymous hero. Mosak, a Hellenistic king of Cappadocia, a Roman emperor. The next member of this series was a Christian bishop. By the latter 4th century, Basil was hailed as the second founder and protector and the guardian and the patron of the community. Legends about him now define his community. Philostrosius deserves credit for breaking away from this powerful mythology about the significance of Basil. His curiosity was a valuable attribute, especially for historians, since it made him inquisitive as well as critical. Reinforcing this inherent skepticism was a sense of grievance about the treatment of Eunomius. Basil and Gregory of Nice had revealed Eunomius and his theological doctrines. In contrast, Philostratus made a pilgrimage to visit his hero in his retirement on a Cappadocian estate. Philostratus then wrote his ecclesiastical history in part to defend Eunomius' reputation and to criticize Basil's behavior. As one later Byzantine reader noted, with both horror and fascination, this history was a eulogy for heretics. Philostratus was hence a heterodox. All right, you tell me, heterodox Christian who wrote a heterodox history. Man, I mean, this is the hijack history, man, that replaced your foundation. I'm going through it with you, so let's go. He had clearly not followed the new orthodoxy either about theology or about history, even when writing about his own homeland of Cappadocia and adjacent regions. He broke ranks. All right, so you got a rebel. Gregory of Nyssa had written the history of Pontus in order to highlight the significance of Gregory Thaumaturgos. Philostratus seems not to have mentioned either Gregory Thaumaturgos or Gregory of Nyssa. Basil's supporters had not been reluctant to rearrange the past to correspond to their vision of a better future, and they emphasized the significance of Basilius for Caesarea and Basil's own reputation in Cappadocia. All this happening on top of Moses. Philostratus was simply a better historian than that. Realizing that the entire past was relevant for interpreting the present, he preferred to mention Mosak, the founder, and Mosak, the region's original founder and the city's original name. Even if the shards of the memories left him puzzled about the connections, rather than wanting to forget old legends about Cappadocia, Philostratus struggled to recollect and record them. And he was still trying to remember the past. So at least he's giving a doggone. At least he's giving a dang gone. At least he's trying to connect some foundational legend. Oh man. You know, sometimes they be skipping all this, man. But alright, let's just get that. Let's keep going. So we just talking Mosak. And let's take that Mosak, those tribes of Moses. Let's go. Let's go. I want to kind of cover one particular chapter we got before, but you already know we got to get it like it's the first time. We in that library. Get it, man. Y'all get it? Go in this library. Head on down to Lost Tribes and Promised Land. I mean, clearly we got so much more drop to get to, but in this series, man, this book has been sort of, you know what I'm saying, our anchor in it. So, we always come back to it with new eyes, fresh eyes. So we're in part 26 and we still dropping, some connectivity, some electricity out of this. So y'all pull it up. Let's go. Let's go. All right. And let's get it from here. Let's go. 46, page 46. There's so much other drop too. Oh man. Zoroaster, we back into the Zoroasters, and as you know, the Josephs and the Abraham connection to Zoroaster. Man, I didn't want to get it from the top, but I might. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get this piece here, and I might go back. Just work backwards with it. So 46, we have seen it functioning just this way in the Prester John letter. But the neighbors across the river in Eldad's account are not Prester John and his Christian subjects or Nestorian subjects. Let me get my water, man. Yelling at people. many times you going to tell babies to go back to bed? Start losing your voice. All right, so we have seen it functioning just this way in the Prester John letter, but the neighbors across the river from Eldad's account are not Prester John and his so-called Christian subjects. Here, rather, in Eldad's description of them, listen up. There is also a tribe of Moses. You thought this was play. So we're not just talking Levites. We're talking a sort of, kind of the tribe of Levites, but on their own nomadic thing, doing their own thing. These were the tribes of Moses that was connected with, Jethro, his wife's father, you know what I'm saying, their family and their move. And how is this connecting to Prester John? How is this connecting to Prester John? There's also the tribe of Moses, our just master, which is called the tribe of Janus. John. Janus is John, tribe of John. Because it fled from idol worship and clung to the fear of God. A river flows around their land for a distance of 4 days' journey. On every side they dwell in beautiful houses, provided with handsome towers, which they have built themselves. They sow and reap and have all sorts of gardens with all kinds of fruit and cereals, namely beans, melon, gourds, whatever that is, onions, garlic, wheat, and barley. And the seed grows 100-fold. They have faith. They know the law. Now, how is this connected with the Rechabites? You remember that? Go back to that drop. The Kenites, the Carriots, Prester John, Khan, Carriots, connecting to the Rechabites, connected to the Kenites. How is this connected to the Rechabites? God's promise that the Rechabites shall not want a man to stand before me forever. Jeremiah, 19 is interpreted by R. Jonathan to mean that they shall become scribes and members of the Sanhedrin. Other rabbis say Rechabites married their daughters to priests and had grandchildren in the priesthood. So, we're dodging the hijack of the Jewish to get, some babies of what these Rechabites and what was talking about when we dealt with Rechabites. Again, we're just talking about Rechabites. It says the Bible refers to a family of men called Rechabites. Rechab, father of Jehonadab, belonging to the Kenites, and were connected with Israel through Moses' marriage. So if these Rechabites are connected with Israel through Moses' marriage, then you're talking about a tribe of Moses with his wife, his father, and their whole team. Not tribe of Levi, tribe of Moses, his own squad. Now, thus Heber and Jael with Israel entered Canaan and shared their inheritance. So they shared the inheritance, though remaining nomads in tents. Wait. Love to, get into the root of it all, man, for this great book, man. Land of Prester John. And, I got so much more great PDFs to dig through from the brothers. So, hey, Drop Nation. Get your rain boots nice and tight. Let's jump on into this drop. We're just dealing with remember, nomads. We're just talking nomads, man. That's all I'm saying. I haven't been here in a little bit. What chapter was that, y'all? Y'all remember what chapter we was in? Was it chapter 7? Prester John at last. Where's Prester John at last? Looks kind of familiar. Let's go down this way. Hey, Prester John at last. How about that? Chapter 7. Why? Prester John lived in a tent. Throughout the vastness of his empire, he had no fixed abode, but perambulated his nomadic court according to the exigencies of politics or war. Exigencies of politics or war. Now they're calling Prester John Lebna Dango DeWitt. Was the young ruler's name as it figures in Ethiopian Chronicles. Now, you can follow Lebna Dango and the the history of Abyssinia, the whole situation. E.A. Wallace Budd, I'm digging on that right now. Is this the same Lebna Dango? Is this a 1500s version of him later versus a 12th century or 13th century? Of course, when it comes to timelines, who knows, right? But Prester John lived in a tent. That's what I'm getting at. There's also the tribe of Moses, our just master, which is called the tribe of John, because it fled from idol worship and clung to the fear of God. All right. A river flows around their land. All right. So a river's flowing around their land. Now, it says these are Levites. So they are Levites again, but of the tribe of Moses and the priesthood. And though not all of them are necessarily prophets or priests, a whole nation of them implies an exalted religiosity. Indeed, they were too exalted for the possession of territory in biblical times. Stop. Remember the Rechabites. Who's the Rechabites? Now you can follow the tribe of Moses. Now you can follow the tribe that Prester John is rocking with, of the Carriots, also called Wan Khan. These are Khans. These are Kenites. These are Khanites. Khanites of the Khanate. These are Carriots. The Carriot. Mongolian, they're hiding among. Remember Genghis Khan, the Black Genghis Khan, and the Batu Khan, stabbing the Rus and the whole painting, were one of the 5 dominant. Now they're going to call them Turco and Turco-Mongol and this, and all this hijack. Confederations, Khanates. They had converted, they say. So, yeah, some Mongolian tribes did. Some Mongolian, Prester John was going against his own peoples that was doing different things. So some had converted to what they're calling the Church of the East. But what's that? Nestorianism. And one more time, like it's the first time, when we do the etymology on Nestor, the wordplay, Nestor, it's just a name for old king, renowned for wisdom, for wise counsel. Nestor is a name for an old king, renowned, famous, reputation for being famous for wisdom. Solomon, what is the first king that comes to mind for me that's famous for wisdom? Who is Prester John? What is this Nestorian situation they trying to bring on us? We just talking Nestor, old king renowned for wise counsel. We just talking Prester John lives in a tent. Nomadic. Throughout the vastness of his empire, he had no fixed abode. Lebna Dango DeWitt, David was the young ruler's name as it figures in Ethiopian Chronicles, but his Portuguese contemporaries simplified it to David. So Prester John is David. Prester John is David. Prester John is King David. Emperor David. Emperor of the Abyssinios. Abyssinia. Nestorian, old king renowned for wise counsel, was Abyssinia. It's the old name for Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is a hijacked name from the 1630s, but Abyssinia, from modern Latin Abyssinia, is the name of the region said to be Amharic mixture. reference to different races or different races dwelling there and all that. I'll be seeing you, Abyssinia. So what mix? What mixture? You could have a fallen angel mix. You could have a mixed multitude making an exodus. Which mix are we talking about? We're just talking tribes of Mosoch, cultures in South America, Mochica languages in Peru. Everyone's named Moscow. Everyone's named after this. Mochica. The Carriots. And again, we refer to Carriots. We're just referring to Wang Kong and Carriots in Mongol Empire. Wang Kong as Prester John. Genghis Khan called him Khan Father. He was taken out by Genghis Khan, they say. But we also know he has the fountain of youth. Man, we're just surfing the wave, man. The Carriots, Khanites. They had converted, they say, to the Church of the East from Nestorianism in the early Nestorianism, all right? Old king renowned for wise counsel, 11th century. So we know we had Canaanites, and then there's Khanites, and is Canaan, Khan, are all Khans of Canaan? Of course not. These are roosters going back to the literally protecting the promised land. You had tribes, one and another, one group of Khans, and you had Genghis Khan's Khans against Wang Khan's Khans. Ruling Asia, Moses, Mosak. Mosak is where? Asia. So we just talk Carriots. They say followers of the Bible, a Jewish sect professing in its religious observances and opinions to follow the Bible to the exclusion of rabbinic traditions and laws. But Carriotism, in fact, adopted a large part of rabbinic Judaism. So now you're learning about a hijacked version of Carriots. See, they have these Carriots today that call themselves Carriots, but are they the real thing? Are they the real thing? Sadducees, Essenes, Israelites, as well as the Mohammedans. The founder of the sect of Anan, his follower, was a first called Ananites, but as the doctrine of the sect were more fully developed, and it gradually emancipated itself to Ananism, and they took the name Carriots. A term first used by Benjamin al-Nahawindi, and in a quotation. All right, so they took the name Carriot, but who were the original Carriots? I just brought this up to let you know that there's people calling themselves Carriots today that are Israel, that are claiming to be Jewish. So the Carriots, the real Carriots, must be what? The real Carriots. Where's my Wong call? I said, where my Wong call? Oh, there we go. Wang Khan. All right, so these are the Carriots. These are the original Carriots, and they called them Mongols, just to throw some shit out there. They said in 1203, Temujin defeated the Carriot. Temujin, his Genghis, defeated the Carriot, who were distracted by the collapse of their own coalition. Togrul is Prester John, King David. Tried to escape to the Naimans, but was killed by a Naiman warrior who did not recognize him. Is it true or is it play? The remaining Carriots submitted to the Temujin's rule, but out of distrust. So if they're saying the real Prester John, this happened in 1203, then when you have the other ones popping up in 1500s and whatever the case is, are they calling themselves Prester John, or are they the actual descendants? Or are the actual descendants of this priest king, the so-called Negroes of today that have no idea who they are? Not the ones calling themselves after this line, this Solomon line, but the ones who have no freaking clue who they are. So when we get on these Rechabites, remember, the Bible refers to a family of men called Rechabites, Rechab, all right? Now, they were connected with Israel through Moses' marriage. Thus, Heber and Jael with Israel, they entered Canaan, shared their inheritance, though remaining nomads in tents. And that's when we brought out Prester John lived in a tent. Prester John lived in a tent. Though remaining nomads in tents, these Rechabites, the ascetic rule against wine, so they had a rule against wine, living in houses and sowing, I guess, and planting. Jeremiah 35, right, was a safeguard against the corrupting license of the Phoenician cities and their idolatries. Their father Jehonadab, he is mentioned as meeting Jehu and was invited to go with him to witness the retribution of God on Baal. 2 Kings 10, their father. In 2 Kings 10, Rechab, as a man of God, his presence was sanctioned to the judgment of God as executed by Jehu in Jeremiah 35, 1 through 19. The prophet is told to invite the Rechabites to come to the temple to meet with him. He takes them into a special room called the chamber. The sons of Hanan, the son of Igdaliah, a holy man of God, as consecrated by his association with his name, it was a fit scene for the divine communication. Their strict Nazarite vow was the ground of their admission into one of the temple chambers devoted to the sons of Hanan, sprung from Igdaliah, a man of God, a prophet of special sanctity. And then in Jeremiah 35:5, it says, Then I sat before the sons of the house of Rechabites bowls. So Jeremiah is saying that he sat before the sons of the house of Rechabites, the tribe of Moses, Prester John's camp, bowls full of wine and cups, and I said to them, Drink wine. They were invited by the holy prophet of God, Jeremiah, to partake of wine in a consecrated room in the very temple of God. It was very easy to find people who would look at circumstances around them and say to themselves, it must be all right to do this in this situation, even though we would never do it elsewhere. The Rechabites had taken a vow to obey the commands of their forefather. And no matter the setting or circumstances, they remain true to their commitment. There is a common feeling today that times alter the standards by which we should live. Do times and should times alter the standards? Should Satan, Saturn, their god of time, sin, time, alter the standards, the law, the foundational legend that we should live? The fallacy is preposterous. The law of gravity is still the same because it is the product of the creator universe. I think we think differently about that. I think we think gravity is the god of science, which is not the product of the creator universe. But let go. He has given us warnings of his word, the Bible, to keep us from harm. The truth does not change because of time or circumstance. All right. A remembered people. All right. Jeremiah said to the house of Rechabites, Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. Why? Because you have obeyed the commandment of Jonadab, your father. So they're keeping a particular commandment that was particular to Jonadab, and they are keeping true to it, and kept all his precepts and done according to all that he commanded you. Therefore, thus says what they're calling the Lord, the Creator, the God of Israel. Jonadab, the son of Rechab, shall not lack a man to stand before me forever. This prophecy was fulfilled. Now listen up about these exilarchs. We're getting into the Babylon, the David Soslan of Babylon, King David, Prester John. After the return from captivity in Babylon, all right, The Rechabites are mentioned in 1 Chronicles 2:55 as taking the profession of scribes, an occupation almost exclusively that of the Levites, a tradition that the Rechabites married Levites and their children ministered in the temple. Eusebius, here we're back to Eusebius, all right, that's who's hijacking this Mosak, turning it into Eusebia and all that, quotes Hegesippus as mentioning a Rechabite priest protesting the martyrdom in the temple of James the Just, half-brother of Jesus. The temple of James. Now the brother Lex Will been kicking on this James, and how we're looking for a foundational legend of Mashiachs, you look at James. So Hegesippus reveals the existence of the Rechabites as being involved in the temple right up to the time of its destruction by the Romans. So the Rechabites, or tribes of Moses, or Prester John and them, were involved in the temple right up to the time of its destruction by the Romans. Now we got how these Carriots are connected to these scrolls of Qumran, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and how these nomads and these Carriot groups are being connected to that. And so you actually have a situation where these Rechabites, this Prester John, could be the one that is involved in leaving you those scrolls that you got today. This fulfills the prophecy of Jeremiah 35:19. Benjamin of Tudela, we got some of that, who lived in the 12th century, speaks of 100,000 Rechabites living in Pumbedita, Babylonia. Now we're getting the connection to the Babylonian exilarchs. Exilarch David Salson of Babylon, and Georgia, which is Russia, which Moscow, Mosak, Moscow, Muscovy, Cappadocia. Moscow reflects the old name, Mosak. Possible migrations as far as South America, Peru. Man, this is so lovely, don't you agree? Because we're just remembering the Rechabites. We're just remembering Prester John. So we got 1 Chronicles 2:55. We got Jeremiah 35:19 to dig on. Benjamin of Tudela, who lived in the 12th century, speaks of 100,000 Rechabites living in Pumbedita, Babylonia, a major center of Talmud scholarship. All right, Dr. Hijack. In the late 3rd century, abstaining from wine and meat, and says that their chief Solomon Hanasi was a descendant of David. Solomon, descendant of David. That reminds me of something that's forbidden, man. Love to the sister, love to the queen, Selma, for dropping this drop, man. I just ain't got it off my mind. This Forbidden Histories. We will be getting back to part 3. Let's cover something that we covered, and I believe part 2 a little bit. But how it connects, it connects. Everything connects. Pure water. So I'm jumping right to page 62. It says, in the article I found speaking of this find titled "A Jewish." Actually, let me back up. Yeah, actually, that's cool. Let's just get that. An article I found speaking of this find titled "A Jewish Catholic State in America." Jewish Catholic State in America. It tells some very interesting things that, in my understanding, brings many things into perspective concerning the rumors of early voyages to this land. Now, this book is called Forbidden Histories of the Americas. So we're talking America all day. Now look how it connects about these early voyages to this land. In the article, it tells of Kalalis, meaning promised land. So we're just talking about the promised land again. Dig on it, click the link, man. Page 62, let's go. Kalalis meaning promised land in one sense, and or Kalix, which is the land of America, entails. So we're just talking America, promised land. Cali entails of Septimania. Alright, Septimania, which is Lower France. Now, I got a map that has Lower France or New France in North America, which became New France. So you have Upper and Lower New France, which is really just talking Canada. We're only talking America. So when you see Lower France, think Canada, Montreal, Canada. So the Septimania in America. All right. Then you have Lower France, Lower Canada, which existed about 700 AD. Interesting. Now, what else happened around 700 AD? You know, what? Muhammad came on the scene. All right. So now you got Prester John, you know what I'm saying, taking out that particular hijack, that Thoth, that Egypt frequency. Now, the Kalalis records speak of Theodorus as the leader of many peoples. Remember his name, Theodorus. Now, he's the leader of many peoples who leaves the Roman lands for Kalalis in 775. So this Theodorus is the leader of many people who leave the Roman lands for Kalalis in 775. Theodorus is none other than the Jewish or Israelite king of Septimania, which they're calling a Roman Jewish state or Israelite state in southern France or Canada, Lower Canada. He is the son of the first Israelite, or they say Jewish, Israelite king of Septimania, also called Theodoric, Theory, Aimeri. We're just talking Israelite kings in America, and now you got this guy Theodorus actually being the son of another Theodoric, also called Aimeri-Khan, Ame'rican, Wang Khan. Aimeri-Khan, Wang Khan, Prester John, Aimeri-Khan. So this Aimeri is the father of this Theodorus, of Madon, Maki, Todros, Rus, R-O-S, Rus, which gives me a hint that we're just talking Ruses, Israelite kings. Remember the Ruses and how they connect to the Israelite kings. Quickly, let go. How do the Ruses connect to the Israelite kings, man? Love to Jesse Ben, Lost Tribes of Ros, R-O-S, the same Ros, Todros, Andros. And get it quickly here. House of Andreas, from the race of St. Andrew and the kindred of the kings of Jerusalem. So this connection between Clan Ross, which is Clan Sial Andrea. You have the Ruses and the Rosses, and the kings of Jerusalem being connected through Andrews. We're talking about Lady Andrews of Clan Sial Andrea, ancient and noble house of Andreas. In parentheses, they put Ptolemy, Egypt, Greek, Iberian, Hebrews. Wow. Hebrews. Who family named the Andros Island, Greece, Agios, Andreas, Greek towns, Britain, British island of man. All right, these are Picts in Britain. Ruler, Andros Island, California. Andros Islands, California. And we're just talking Carriots, California. Israelite kings, Jewish king of Septimania. Aimeri, also known as Theodorus, Theodorus. Alright, real talk. Kings of Jerusalem, Andreas, Rus, House of Rus, and Rus. You remember the, look. Family crest of Andrews, kings. Is it play? Play. When we're just talking the Ruses, the kings. And this is on their shield, people. We got that. Yeah. We're just talking the Rus, Aimeri, Theodorus, Amer ben Amer, Theodorus, Ame'ri, Amery, Ame'ri, is also known as Theodoric, King of Saxony. Namus, Duke of Bavaria, and his brothers were great warrior Davidic princes, meaning they were of the line of David. Rus, Israelite kings of the time of Charlemagne. On the death of his father Makir Theodoric in about 765 AD, Nehemiah Theodoric becomes the Western exilarch, which is what? Leader of all the Jews or Israelites of the revised Western Roman Empire of Charlemagne. Yeah. Babylonian exilarchs. We just talking exilarch David of Babylon. Babylonian exilarchs. So this Theodoric, he and his brothers were great warrior Davidic David princes. In Charlemagne's time, on the death of his father, he becomes the Western exilarch. Western Cali. Western exilarch and leader of all Israelites in Western Roman Empire, which is only speaking of this Roman lands. We're only speaking of Kalalis, what they're referring to the Promised Land. The Israelite king or Jewish king of Septimania, a Roman Jewish state in southern France, which is Canada, which is here. Remember, the land of America entails of Septimia, which is Lower France, which existed in 700 AD. We're just talking 700 AD. Roman lands for Kalalis. And again, we're actually, when we talk this Roman talk, we ain't just talking Roman talk, man. When we talk Roman talk, man, European Roma descended from Indian untouchables. European Rome descended from Indian untouchables. Roma gypsies in Britain and Europe. The Brits, the Picts, are they also Romas? When we talk Britain and Pict, we're talking Georgia. We're talking Babylonian exilarchs during the Babylonian captivity. Now they're coming out of this Babylon in Ethiopia. Ethiopians were also calling themselves Babylonians. Everyone living in Babylon was calling themselves Babylonian. Just like American, you're living in America, you call yourself American. Now the Tower of Babel situation happens and these people are, coming to new, spreading out in different ways, different things. But when we talk Roma, don't just think Rome, people. When European Roma descended from Indian untouchables. And again, you go to the site, man, you can, we will definitely get a piece of this untouchable drop because we're going to connect this Hindu America, these Indies, Prester John of the three Indies, and now we have Roma connected to the Indies, who they're calling untouchables. Now these untouchables are the people in their society who are on the bottom, who have been put outside of the community where they don't even get nothing. They've been persecuted. They say gypsies. This author here, Dean Nelson in New Delhi, says gypsies have long believed that they have origins in India, citing common Sanskrit words in their languages and photographs of darker skinned ancestors in South Asian clothes, which earlier research has offered some scientific support for their suspicions. Darker skin and Asiatic clothes. So, Roma, Roma, Roma. Oh, Roma. What is the aroma? Aroma, how does it smell? What does it feel? We're just talking to Romani people. Oh, man. Oh. Romani, Roman, Romani, Roman. Indian, Indies, Indian Negro. The Romani, Roma, are a traditionally nomadic ethnic group. Nomads? Nomads? Prester John lived in a tent. Throughout the vastness of his empire, he had no fixed abode but perambulated his nomadic court, according to the exigencies of politics of war. Let him dangle do it. Prester John. The emperor at this time was some 20 years of age. Old Queen Helena's tutelage was a thing of the past. The dowager still lived at court, but in retirement, young David, like his namesake, an alleged ancestor, King David, had embarked early on a military career. Abyssinia predates Ethiopia, mixed multitude. Oh man, I get too excited sometimes. I'm just talking about the Romani people. Now they're a nomad, ethnic group, living mostly in Europe and the Americas. So when you say, oh, Rome was in Americas, yeah. Romani had Roman colonies. So when you hear Roman colonies or Jewish Roman colony, don't think hijack. Think Romani. Because we're only talking what? Romani are dispersed, scattered, with their concentration population in Europe, especially Central, Eastern, and South Europe, including Turkey, including Mosak, Turkey. Romani, Rome. This was the Roman Empire. What they called the Black Roman Empire, the Eastern, or whatever it was, we'll get into that, man, the Byzantine. So you got this Byzantine, Turkey, Rome, India, darker skin, nomad, Rechabite, Prester John, tribe of Moses, India, Indies. They originated in northern India and arrived in Midwest Asia, then Europe. So originally they're from India. Back it up. What is this about? Meet the Roma, 2,000 years ago, the first Indians. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Now they're going to give you some hijack images, I'm sure, but come on. 2,000 years ago, we ain't talking about nothing that's not melanated. The first Indians to go to Europe. Body bag. The Indian Express. So I hope we have a different perspective, another perspective, another way to surf this. We don't have to be right, but we can ask these questions and say, all right, when you say Roman Empire, are you talking Indian? Are you talking Asiatic, Indian? Are you talking Prester John, Roman? Or are you talking European hijack. Modern day European hijack. Meet the Roma. I'm going to leave this article, man. Y'all can check it out. We're going to keep going. But I want to establish the basis. The Roma or Romani are a traveling people, nomadic, right? Who live mostly in Europe and America. The three Indies, India. I let you know India's right here. Ethiopia, Egypt, so-called. This is Northwest Amexem, right? Africa. West Africa. The west of that Africa is West Africa, this. But what is it really? What is it really pre-hijack? And whose origins are widely accepted by anthropologists, historians, and geneticists as lying in North India. All right. So let's go. A Roman Jewish state. Again, you know this Jewish, tallish, blackish, coolish. Are you cool, man? Man, I'm coolish. Are you straight, man? I'm straight-ish. Nigga, what's wrong there? All right, Jewish. Either it is or it ain't. We're talking 775, man. So these are Israelites. Romani, Indian Israelite. You remember how we got into the Prester John manuscript? What is it called? You know what I'm talking about. You know, so much goes on. You know what I mean? But the manuscript, you know what I mean? The undecipherable manuscript of the Voynich. Thank you. Somebody just sent me that. The Voynich. And they said that it was written in a Hebreo-Indian, stylized Indian. So you're talking Romani Indian, India, North India, they say. These are also the Indias too. Israelite state. A Roman Israelite state in south of Canada here. 775. He is the son of the first Jewish Israelite king, right? Theodorus, Aimeri, Theodorus, Davidic prince, warrior. Now in 775, Nehemiah Theodoric reconquered the American empire of Kalalis. We're just talking about Romani, a Roman colony, which was Romani. Meet the Roma. From India, Romani, right? Okay. 2,000 years ago, the first Indians to go to that part of Asia. Okay. All right. Who was Prester John? So 775, Nehemiah Theodori, Aimeri-Khan, reconquered the Ame'rican empire of Kalalis, which is the promised land, right? The Kalalis was ruled by Sylvanus Tolteczus. Now it says in parentheses, Solomon the builder, the hereditary ruler of this former Israelite, ruled Romani colony in America. The promised land, people. When Columbus says he's coming to America to conquer the holy city, we're talking about the promised land, people. Kalalis was founded in 1st century BC. Whatever that means. Now listen, by the Babylonian exilarch known as Sylvanus Agam or Sylvanus Brabo, Solomon II, Babylonian exilarch. I mean, any questions? We just talking America. And it's saying right here that in America, in 700 AD, people, way before the 1200s, 1300s, and 1400s, there was a Babylonian exilarch, meaning the Babylonian captivity was recent. It was happening around that time, known as Solomon II, Babylonian exilarch, Nasi of Mara, ruler of Sumer, Somerset, and Britain, the Picts, a great Romani Jewish, a Romani and Indian Israelite ruler, soldier and ancestor of the Swan Knights, Templar Knights. He also had a fleet of trading vessels known as ships of Solomon. Didn't Solomon have fleets? Now this is talking about Solomon II. And this right here is the brother of Solomon the First, they say. First. Exilarch, Babylonian, Babylon, Georgia, son of Raja, Prester John. Your last noble image, Negro. Now, being a Babylonian exilarch means that he's the Israelite king. The king. And if we're only talking Babylonian exilarchs in the 1st century BC, known as Silvanus Agam, Silvanus Brabo, Solomon II, Babylonian exilarch, Nasi of Mara, ruler of Somerset in Britain. Come on, connected. A great Roman Jewish ruler, or Romani, soldier and ancestor of Swan Knights, Barbar Ha-Katzin. He also had a fleet of trading vessels known as the ships of Solomon, or the swan boats. The ships are shaped like a swan, and its sails like the wings of a beautiful gliding white swan. After the defeat of Silvanus Toltezus, the members of the royal family were sent back to Europe. The royal family, look at the history. In 700 here in America, there was some, you know what I'm saying? So he was defeated, and these royals were sent back to Europe. So which one is the hijack? All right. So if he's conquering, or he's reconquering America of Kalalis, the promised land, this Theodoric, now it's Aimeri-Khan. All right. Now he was fighting its ruler, Solomon the Builder. So he came to have beef with this Solomon. Now remember what Prester John said about how old he is, even in his 1100s or 12th century letters. Remember how old Prester John said he is. Very, very important. This is very important, man, because the fountain of youth plays in this investigation of Prester John, part 26. How about that? Oh, yeah, we got to get into the St. Thomas, too. The St. Thomas in India, I'm sure that place. I'm sure that place. Now, he says about the fountain of youth, the rim of Prester John. This is, all right, a slightly later manuscript in Silverberg's book. Robert Silverberg writes in his 1972 book, The Rim of Prester John. Here's the version transcribed from a slightly later manuscript. So this is coming from Prester John, according to this Robert Silverberg slightly later manuscript. He says, whoever drinks of its water 3 times having eaten will have no illness for 30 without having eaten. So you can't eat, but you drink of the water 3 times, you won't have no illness for 30 years. Now, when he has drunk of it, he will feel as if he has eaten the finest meats and spices, man, like the best meals for 30 years. For it is full of God's grace. A person who bathes in this fountain, whether he be 100 or 1,000 years, will regain the age of 32. So how many times did Prester John or King David or Solomon bathe in this fountain to regain the age of 32? He's going to tell you. He says, know that we were born and blessed in the womb of our mother 562 years ago. And since then, we have bathed in the fountain of youth 6 times. So he's telling you right there in the 12th century that he is over 500 years old, because he's bathed in the fountain of youth over 6 times. 562. In other words, Prester John was letting readers know that by the miracle of the fountain of youth, he was 562 years old and going strong. 562 years old and going strong. How old would he be today if this is in the 12th century, if we're accurate with that. But he's 562 years old then. So when I come back to this, and I get these dates, 775, and that letter is in the 12th century, we take it 500 years back, and you got Prester John being right in the mix here, according to his own words in this letter, if it's authentic, right? So we're just, digging it out. So this Sylvanus Toltexus, however you say it, the members of the royal family were sent back to Europe. Now we got the connection between the royals there, the royals here. Now there was a war happening even then between two dark groups. And one was Solomon the builder. So which is the hijack? I mean, I'm reading this with y'all. I'm serving this with y'all. So we got these royal families here being sent to Europe, and where they were under the protection of Nehemiah, Theodorus, and his family. The legend of Ogier, the Dane, son of Godfrey, Kadrod, and Dun de Mayins actually refers to the Tuatha de Danann, or Dunan, who are also known as the Mananan, or Maine of America. Maine. So we have Maine. Why is Maine Maine? It's Mananan. The Irish legend of Regamon also alluded to this family. All their Irish legends and Scottish legends are talking dark people. Now it says Israel III went south to the Toltec lands of Mexico. Of course, you have to connect that Toltexus to Toltec lands of Mexico. Now this was Solomon, right? And Solomon II and his grandson Machir Aimeri-Khan. So even his grandson is Aimeri-Khan, Ame'rican. All you gotta do is put an A in to get American. Put an A right here, you get America. If he's Aimeri-Khan, then it's America. Mary and the Welsh genealogies. This Welsh plays Mixocultu in the Toltecs was the grandfather of Tapelzin, who they're calling Israel the Seventh Idwal, priest of Quetzalcoatl, who left Colua for Rhoda in about 1100. Priest of Quetzalcoatl, we got the fiery flying serpent, the Moses connection with the staff of Moses, the symbology of that, who left for Cholula. Love to the brother preaching, others bringing out the Cholula mounds, and different things. So for Rhoda, who left Cholula. So these were the people that were rocking the Cholula mounds, directly connected to Solomon II, or the nomadic tribes. These, who knows? Cholula for Rhoda. What does that sound like? Rhoda. You got Maine, you got Rhoda in the same place. In about 1000 AD. Alright, he rejoined the remnant of the Rodans, who he led east and then back to Europe, and some of the Latin Jewish Rodans, or Israelite Rodans, settled in northwestern Spain. The Jews in Spain. Where as trained warriors they were welcomed in the fight to preserve the freedom of northwestern Spain from the Muslims. So of course Prester John was against the Sultan, and that Morocco hijacked the Atlantean frequency. He fought against the Thoth. He fought against all hijacks. They say they got him as an Nestorian Christian, but we know that's only old king renowned for wisdom. That's only Solomon. Don't get it twisted. No hijacks allowed. Man. So check it. We just talking America. Priest of Quetzalcoatl, who left Cholula for Rhoda. Now we got Rhodan, or Rhode Island, right? Rhode Island. Rhodans, who he led east and back to Europe. We're going back into Europe, Turkey. We're going back. And some of the Latin or Israelite Jews, Rhodans, settled in northwest Spain, trained warriors. They welcomed the fight to preserve the freedom of northwestern Spain from the Muslims. Rodrigo El Cid was Tapelzin's great grandson. Tapelzin's son was called Lane Calvo, Lancelot, Sir Lancelot, King Arthur, all these knights in this, protecting Solomon's temple, the secrets, the Ark of the Covenant. These were Prester John and his peoples. And you had the Templars, and you had the treacherous Templars. You got the Moors, and who they call the dirty Moors. Family against family, Khan against Khan. Lancelot, Lancelin of Calalis, Promised Land. Lancelin of Calisland, Lanchland, Rodrigo El Cid and his father Diego, Lanes Jacob, his father's Jacob, married into the Davidic exilarch family. He married into the line of David in Spain, Barcelona, and East. His daughter married Rodriguez. So when you hear Rodriguez, it's just Rodrigo or Rodin, Rhode Island. So that Rodriguez is only keyword for Rodin. Israelites was the wife of Raymond Bettinger. All right. So we got the Davidic family again. We got the exilarchs again. And the exilarchs are always going to be coming back to your man, my man, Prester John. Prester John, El Prester Juan, Raja Chola II, Emperor of Soliman, Prester John, the Pandian, father of Soliman, father of Soliman, Prester John, father of Soliman, man. So yeah, I just wanted to get a little more into the record buys, get some of that Carriot drop. You know what I'm saying? Get back into that Mosak. Know that we're talking Mosaka, Moshi. We're talking Menasseh. We're talking Moses all around, people. Moses all around us. We're talking Prester John, who is Lango David, who lived in a tent, who is a nomad, right? And we're only talking the Rechabites, man. And, it's very interesting, getting into that Jeremiah 35 and 1 Chronicles 2:55. Matter of fact, let's get down, make our dismount. The tribes, also of the scribes who lived in Jabes and Terethites, the Shemaites and Sukathites. These are the Kenites who came from Hamath, the father of the house of Rechab. Is this the drop on Prester John? You know what I'm saying? Connecting right there in the script. And when you get to Soliman, and we get back into Caliph and Caliphia and Sheba, the Queen of Makeba, how the queen talked to the children of Israel. Let's get that. How the queen talked to the children of Israel. And the queen answered and said unto them, not as servants as ye say, but as a father and a teacher will we treat you. So Queen Sheba, Makeba, Caliphia, Serikali chose up, according to the Nabra, the Kebra Nagash. All right, these texts here. Now, here we go. So, for ye are the guardians of the law. So how was Prester John treated? According to Sheba. How was Soliman treated? Remember, we back in the 700s. Soliman is already rocking here, remember? Soliman is already rocking here, remember? We already got Soliman, Silvatus, Totec, Soliman, Babylonian exarch. So the queen, Sheba, Ethiopia, which is here, answered and said unto them, not as servants, Israel, as you say, but as a father and a teacher will we treat you, for ye are the guardians of the law of God, and the guides of the commandment of the God of Israel, and the men of the house of God, and the guardian of Zion, the tabernacle of the law of God. And we do not wish to transgress your commandments, for ye shall be unto us a guide to the path of God, the Creator, away from all evil. At your words we will withdraw from the wherewith God, the bullshit God. It's not well pleased, and we will draw nigh unto every good thing wherewith God is well pleased at your commandment. Only do ye instruct all this people. So she gave all her people to the law, and teach them the words of knowledge, for never before have they heard such things. My people ain't never heard of these things, y'all. This is what she's saying. So teach them. As they have heard this day, it is only those who have understanding in them that wisdom and understanding illuminate like the light of the sun. As for me, up to this present, I have not drunk deeply of the water of knowledge, says the queen, Makiba, Sheba. Now it is sweeter than honey, and quencheth the thirst more than wine, and it satisfieth and maketh wisdom to bubble up, and it stimulateth the understanding, and maketh a man to pour forth words like a drunken man, and maketh the unsteady man like one who flieth, and maketh a man as hot as he that carrieth a heavy load on a difficult road, and a parched land that is burnt up by a blazing sun. When the hearts of the wise are open to prophecy and to knowledge, they do not fear the king because of the greatness of his glory, if he turneth himself aside from the way of God. And mark this, the word of the law, which hath been uttered, is indeed understanding unto those who wish for it, and who drink it in and soak themselves therein. I pray thee, O Lord God of Israel, thou holiest of the holy, grant unto me that I may follow wisdom and may not become a castaway. Grant unto me that I may make her a wall unto myself, wisdom, and may never fall down. Grant that I may make her a foundation for me and may never be overthrown. Grant that I may stand upon her as firmly as a pillar and may never shake. Grant that I may hide in her and never have her stripped from me. Grant that I may build myself upon her and may not topple over. Grant that I may become vigorous through her and not suffer from exhaustion. Grant that I may stand through her and not fall. Grant that I may lay hold upon her and may not slip away. Grant that I may grasp her firmly, wisdom, and may not slide. Grant that I may dwell in her in peace. In her peace, grant that I may be satisfied at her table and may not vomit, and drink her and not get drunk upon her, and may be satisfied with her and not spit her out. We are talking about the framer, we're talking about the shaper, and we're talking about your last noble image. We're only talking about Prester John, the fountain of youth. Love to all y'all for surfing this wave. We'll see y'all in part 27. Treat each other with patience as we stay up, choose up, and suit up.